Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Waffle TV. In our last lesson, we talked about ratios and we focused on increasing and decreasing in a given ratio. We then promised you that this time around we are going to be sharing or dividing quantities in a given ratio. So in our lesson today, we'll be sharing in a given ratio. And by the end of the lesson, you should be able to divide a given quantity by a given ratio. We just want to take this little time to appreciate those who supported us in our project for this year, where we were able to assist some underprivileged learners in local communities with school materials. We are looking forward to the next event, which you will be informed. But to know more about Work and Philanthropy Foundation, you can go to our website at www.watfu.com. Here you are going to see all we do, and of course you can identify in which area you can be of help so that we can collaborate or partner for the advancement of humanity. That said, we are going to be talking today about sharing in a given ratio. Without waste of time, we are going to start by focusing on examples. And through these examples, we are going to learn how we can divide quantities in a given ratio. Our first question on the board is divide 150 items between Peter and Paul in the ratio 2:3. Pay attention and follow the step-by-step keenly so that you can gain our objectives by the end of the lesson. To be able to divide 150 items between Peter and Paul in this ratio 2:3, we can do that in two different ways. Pay attention as we start with the first method and of course the second one, and you can choose which one you can better apply. The first method is, first of all, we identify the quantity to be shared. Our quantity is 150 items. The next thing to identify here is total parts. Remember, these 2:3 are the different parts. So we can find the total parts, which is equal to 2 plus 3, and that is 5. If we can find total number of parts, then we can find one part. By one part, we mean if the total quantity is 150 and total number of parts to be shared between Paul and Peter is 5, then we can find one part. That will be 150, which is the number of items, divided by the 5 parts. We will have one part, and one part here will be 30. If one part is 30, then it will be easy to find Peter's share. Peter has 2, so we have 2 here times one part, which is 30, and this will give us 60 items. And we can equally calculate Paul's share, which is equal to, Paul has 3, and 3 times 30 will give us 90 items. If you add these two shares, you're going to come back to the total. And if you do that and it gives you the total, it means your calculation is correct. This is the first method you can use to calculate the number of items each person had as far as their shares are concerned. If this is understood, then we can look at the second method. In method 2, you equally identify the quantity to be shared, which is 150. Then after that, we find the sum of ratio, which in this case we call it total part. So sum of ratio will be 2 plus 3, which is 5. If you have this, then we go straight away to calculating the share. That's Peter's share and Paul's share. So we start with Peter's share. Peter's share here is 2 over sum of ratio, which is 5, and we multiply that by the quantity, 150. 5 here, 1, and 5 into 150, 30 times. 2 times 30 is going to give us 60. And Paul's share will be equal to, his share is 3. 3 over sum of ratio, which is 5, times 150. 5 here, 1, and 5 into 150, 30. And 3 times 30 is going to give us 90 items. Whether you use the method 1 or method 2, the answers are going to be the same. Peter's share 60 and Paul's share 90. And if you add these two, it's going to give you the total quantity you have to share. If this is understood, then we can move on to the second example for better understanding. Example 2 says, share $4,800 in the ratio 1:2:5. We are going to choose any of these methods. Of course, I like going by the second, to apply in this example and solve for the 3 shares. So the first thing we do as far as this is concerned, we identify the amount, which is equal to $4,800. Then we identify sum of ratio, which is equal to 1 plus 2 plus 5, and that is 8. Therefore, we can find the first share. We are not giving any names, so we'll just put it into first, second, and third shares. First share will be equal to, the share is 1 over total sum of ratio, which is 8, and multiply that by $4,800. 8 here 1, 8 into 48 6 times, and these zeros will follow. So our answer at the first level is going to be $600. That's for the first share. Second share will be equal to 2 over 8 times $4,800. 8 here 1, 8 into 4,800 is 600, and 2 times 600 is going to give us $1,200. And the last share, the third share, will be 5 over 8 times $4,800. 8 here 1, 8 into 4,800 is 600, and 5 times 600 is going to give us $3,000. So this will be first, second, and third share as far as these ratios are concerned, and if you are to share this amount to them. Let's move on to the last example for today and see how we can apply the knowledge we've learned in the previous examples to solve this particular question. But before we go into it, pay attention that this question may need some little interpretation, and you have to be very careful to manipulate the figures, else you may make unnecessary mistakes and have it all wrong. Our example 3 here says, in a company, 4 shareholders, A, B, C, and D, contributed a capital of $3,550,000 to start a business. They contributed this amount in the ratio 2:3:4:1. Find A, C's share, that is how much C contributed. B, how much A and D gave. And C, the difference between B and D's share. The first thing you must take note of is that this ratio stands for the various contributors, and A here stands for the first quantity, B for the second, C for the third, and D for the fourth quantity. Be it A, B, C, or D's share, we need to identify the total amount that they contributed, and we need to identify the sum of the ratio. These two will assist us in solving for each person's share. And of course, like in B, we should be able to calculate for A and for D separately before putting together. And for the last question, C, we should be able to calculate for B separately, for D separately, before finding the difference. So we'll start by first of all identifying amount contributed. Amount contributed is equal to $3,550,000. Then we find sum of ratio, which is equal to 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 1. And this is going to give us 10. From here, we can find C's share. C's share is equal to, his quantity here is 4. So it is 4 over sum of ratio, which is 10, and we multiply by the total amount which was contributed, that is $3,550,000. This over 1, if you wish, so that this 0 can simplify this 0. And if you multiply 4 by 355,000, you're going to have a total of 1,220,000. This is what C contributed. And as you can see from the various quantities, C contributed the highest capital. That is 4 out of the 10. Let's move on to B. B says how much A and D gave. In B, we are going to find A's share and D's share and put together. A's share, we already have the total amount here and we have the sum of ratio here. So to find A's share, we just go to the ratio, and in the ratio, A is the first quantity. That is 2/10 times 3,550,000 over 1. So that this 0 will simplify this 0. And if you multiply 2 by 355,000, it's going to give us a total of 710,000. Then we should find D's share as well. Will be equal to, D here is 1. So we take 1/10 multiplied by 3,550,000 all over 1. This 0 will do away with this 0. And our answer at this level will be 355,000. Therefore, total for these two, total for A and D will be equal to 710,000 plus 355,000. And that is going to give us a total of 1,065,000. So A and D contributed 1,065,000. Let's move to the last aspect, that is C, to find the difference between B and D's share. All we have to do is find B's share and D's share, then find the difference. In this case, we already have D's share. So what we do is just to find B's share. C, B's share is equal to, B here has 3. So the quantity for B is 3/10 times 3,550,000 over 1. So that this will simplify this. And if you multiply 3 by 355,000, this will give us 1,065,000. Therefore, difference will be equal to 1,065,000 minus 355,000. And if you do this well, this is going to give us a total of 710,000. If you picked up all this and you followed up the step by step up to this point, it means our objectives have been attained. If you did not, you can watch it over and over and equally share your questions in the comment section, and we'll be able to assist you. With this, we have come to the end of our lesson today and want to appreciate your patience and your time for always being there. In our next lesson, we are going to be doing more application questions on ratio, how to share, how to interpret the questions. And until then, it is goodbye from us.